I'd love to hear a little bit more about the show itself. When we first discussed it, we talked about like world building in video games and like making your way through spaces and finding out a sort of like overarching story, which sounds so cool. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely the long-term vision. And so, Victoria, when you and I first spoke, it was, I mean, the long-term plan, and this is exactly what we're going to be doing, is you want to make people conscious of the fact they've stepped into something different. And like we were saying, the experience for so many people when you go to a gallery is it's frosty and it's inaccessible and it's not fun. And people have switched off really before they've even done anything. So it's how you give people that jolt to make them realise that they're somewhere else. And as you mentioned, sort of world building, it will be, I mean, the long-term plan for all of this is to make it an experience for people to, and whenever you say like experience or immersive, it sounds so kitsch, and that's like absolutely the opposite of what we want to do, because it's not 100-foot digital images of a Van Gogh picture that someone's walking around in, but it's, I'm personally of the opinion that a lot of the time, like Tom said before, the white cube is sort of a bit of a lazy response to a lot of stuff. And I think it can really complement works. And for some things, it makes total sense. But it can also be a bit of a disservice to what they're doing, because I don't think it works hard enough for the artist. I don't think it makes the experience interesting enough for the viewer. And I just think it's an easy way to do it. Like I said, it can work. And for some things, it's perfect and you can't improve on it. But for other things, I think there's a different way of working around it.
You're also always trying to be very mindful of what best suits the artist. So I think there's a fine line between doing something which it ends up making it feel like a theme park. And when you're working with 14 artists, there are some things that would work really well for some and not so well for others. So we've also, I think our next show is going to be in October of this year, and that's going to be a solo show artist. And that will be a totally transformative installation. So working with artists now to see what they sort of envision. I think it's easier when you can world building to dive into a handful of artists than trying to make something that accommodates for everyone. So there's a balance, as I was saying, of where the white cube works and where you should really steer away from it.
Yeah, and how do you navigate that with these artists?
I think it's very important to let the artists do their thing. So it's important to have a long lead time, many discussions, lots of emails back and forth. And we try our very best to never tell them, this is what you should do or don't do that, because at the end of the day, we're here to support artists and uplift them. So their vision is what we have our responsibility to bring to life.